Okay, we're going to go through now the process of adding a fact check into the PolitiFact CMS, which is called Django. It's a little bit quirky, and once you've used it a couple times, it's not too bad, but it helps to see some of the quirks in action before you start. First thing I'm going to do is access the Django CMS by entering cmspolitifact.com/admin. This is where I'll log in. Once you've logged in, we're going to be adding a statement, which we will get to shortly. The first thing, probably the most important thing to remember in Django is, unlike some CMSs, in this one, you need to load in your artwork first. You can't do it as you're loading your words and other content into the piece. That also includes embedded things like graphics, videos, and social media posts. So the first thing I'm going to do is add my artwork. So the first, I'm going to click Add Art, and my main art on this piece is going to be a YouTube video. So I select YouTube here, and I give it a title so that I can remember it in case I have to select it from a menu. And this one is called Joe Barrios Ad. Then you provide your caption here, obviously. Now, this is fairly simple. If we've selected YouTube up here, then we want to enter it in the YouTube category down here. This is one of the quirks of the Django system. You're not going to enter anything here, and you're also not going to enter the embed code, even though we will be embedding video. What you enter is everything after the equal sign in the URL of your video that you're going to use. So I'm going to copy that, and I paste it here. And then we can save. Okay. So now we can go back to our home. So we have our art loaded in. And the next thing I'm going to add, in this case, on this fact check, I'm also going to be embedding this tweet right here. And for tweets and Facebook posts, you do need the embed code. So I'm going to copy the embed code that I stuck in a comment on my Google document just to keep it handy. So I've copied that, and I'm going to go back, and we're going to add another. This is considered a piece of art here. So now we're going to add, anytime you're embedding anything other than a video, you're going to use the infogram share the facts resource type. I don't know why that is, but they don't have one labeled for other things. And you will use this if you make an infogram graphic, obviously. And this is also where you will put later your share the facts graphic, which goes down below. However, we're also going to use it to embed this tweet. And to do that, we go down here to the share the facts box, and I put in my embed code. And again, now I'm done, so I'm just going to save. If you have a lot of art to add, if you have a lot of embeds, whoops, I didn't give it a title. We do not need to add a caption on a tweet. We already have our share the facts embed code there. So now we're going to save it, and hopefully I've done it right this time. Okay, now we'll go back to home. So we're going to go straight down, and in this case, we are adding a statement. So you're going to click here to add a statement. If you are editing a statement, if you click this, you will get a master list of all the statements in PolitiFact, and you can search to find the one you want to edit. But in our case, we are going to add a statement. So we're going to click Add. And here's where the real work gets done. We are the Illinois edition, obviously. You select that. This you can skip. I don't think I've ever used this. It's something that they use on PolitiFact National a lot, so I don't worry about that. Outlet I skip too. This is something that they use when they're checking pundits on PolitiFact National, and this is kind of the major networks that they frequently check. So I leave that. We're not doing Pundit Fact. I never check this. The author is going to be whoever wrote the piece, which in my case, I do a search for my own name and I find that. Here's another wacky quirk of the Django system. You need to do this in 2 steps. First, you select the author, then you have to put them over here using this arrow. So there it is. So selecting it here is not enough. You must click the arrow to put it over here. I am also the researcher on this, so I will find my name again. You can also scroll down if you want. And again, that's not enough. You must click it and put it over in there. If you fail to do that, you'll get the red stripe at the top when you try to publish. The editor, in my case, was John Chase. So we're going to, we can probably just quickly scroll down and get to John's name here. There he is. If at any time you have an editor who is not listed here, you can click the plus sign and you can add that editor's name and profile. Don't think you'll have to do that, but that's what these little plus signs are for. Okay, the speaker. Now this is another weird thing here. This is not a search box. To find the speaker, you click this search magnifying glass and it will come up here. I have already entered Joe Barrios's profile here, so there he is. Now you'll see it's added the number that he's been assigned. Again, if you were to have a speaker who has never been fact-checked before, you can simply click here and then you can add the person up here. When you add a person, you do need to write a little profile for that person, and you will also have to upload a picture of that person, and you'll want to make sure that picture is 80 by 80 pixels. Generally, you can skip target. I have never filled in target. This is more when your National uses this a lot for fact-checking on political campaigns. Okay. For subject, you can pick multiple subjects if you hold down the command or control as it instructs you right here. In this case, we have a statement from Joe Barrios that has to do with an election. It has to do with finance. It has to do with a lot of different things. So let's see if we can add multiple categories here. So it has to do with an election. This also has to do with ethics. So I'm going to hold Command and click Ethics. And it also has to do somewhat with prisons. Let's see if anything to do with prisons is on here. Could be a legal issue. You click there and it puts it there into the chosen subject. Statement, that's the actual quote that is being checked. And in this case, we'll go back to our Google Doc, and I always put the statement at the top here. And so you can just copy it there and then move back and you paste it in here. Now you get to see one of the other strange quirks of the Django system, which is everything goes in boldface. No one at PolitiFact seems to know why this happens, but it does. So you need to take it out of boldface. You move down. The statement type is almost always for us going to be a claim. you could use an attack. Flip is for the national PolitiFact they have a thing where they track flip-flopping on positions. We've never done that at PolitiFact Illinois. I don't know that we'll ever use that, but that's what that's for. You could also use attack if you want. I never have. I just stick with claim. Statement date was the day that it was stated, and in this case, this was an ad that came out on December 11th, 2017. So I'm just going to pick December. That goes in. The statement context, this is, you assume that the word in is in front of it. And you'll see down here, this explains what that is. So we're going to say in a campaign ad. Now, what I just added as art is the YouTube video that I put in earlier. That is what is going to go right here. When I publish this fact check, this big image right here is your art image. So, YouTube videos work very well as art. They display nicely, and a lot of times, like in this case, it contains the statement that's being checked. So here, again, you don't use this box to search. You click on this, and then you have to find the piece of art. I just added it, so it's probably going to be at about the top of the list here. And there we have it. That's our YouTube video. We're going to select this, and it takes the catalog number there. Now, for more headline art is what goes into this carousel. So when, if someone at PolitiFact National puts your fact check into the PolitiFact Illinois carousel, which is these top 4 stories that you see on the main PolitiFact Illinois page, that is where your more headline art selection will go. And in this case, what I would like to do, I'm just going to make a screenshot, and we're going to use that as our more headline art. It's very simple. So in this case, I'm just going to use the simple Mac screenshot, and then we'll go back. So under more headline art, I have to add this to the system. I'm going to go look it up, and now I'm going to add resource. This resource is a photo. The title is clip from Barrios attack ad on Kagi. That's a long title, but it helps to have both names in case I ever need to search, or if someone is searching for some kind of art with either Barrios or Fritz Kagi in it. You can do a quick caption. Photos need to be under 500K, which is not going to be a problem with a screen grab. And that's all there is to it. You save that. And now my more headline art is loaded in there. So if you want to put this at the top of the PolitiFact homepage, we do not have the ability to manage this carousel in-house. So you just send a quick message to somebody down in Florida and ask them to put it in there. And when they do, it'll go here. The more headline art will be displayed, or it'll go up in one of these places. A lot of times you want to make sure, if you've got a really particularly interesting fact check, make sure that it goes into this area, and you can keep it there for a while. It's also important to make sure they change that up every now and then. Now for our art embed, remember that we put in that tweet, and so we want to go select that tweet because that is the first piece of art that we're going to embed. So that's an infogram, share the facts. That's our tweet. We select it, and it goes right here. In a minute, you're going to find out what Figure 1 art embed, Figure 2, 3, 4, and 5 are for. Basically, these are anything that you're going to be embedding. If you have 5 different infogram graphics, you need to first load them up, stack them up here, so that when we get to loading in our words, we then use a special set of code that you'll see in just 1 second. Sometimes, now I have not entered the new campaign, and PolitiFact nationally, I think, does not want us entering new campaigns. So I skip that. The location, this was done in Chicago, and Chicago is loaded in here, so we'll put that in as our location. We decided this one is going to have a mostly false ruling. Right down here, we've already done our chamber, so we know it's going to be mostly false. So you select that up here, mostly false. Ruling headline. This is used in the top headline, and this is important for SEO, so you want to make sure that you have your big keywords, in this case, Barrios and Fritz Kagi. So we're going to put now, the ruling comments are actually, that's your fact check. Those are the words that are going to go into your fact check. So now we just simply go here and we enter it in order. I've put that there as a placeholder on my Google Doc. We can ignore that. We've already embedded our video. It's going to show up as the main art on top of everything. So first thing, I'm just going to go copy this stuff in sequence. And remember, it'll be all in boldface, and it'll also put an extra space in between all your paragraphs. So you'll have to fix that. We are going to ignore this tweet. We're going to do that last. So now I can just go and copy the entire rest of the fact check, go all the way down to our ruling. We're going to copy that and paste it in. There we go. This puts us at the end, so we can conveniently go back up and take out those extra spaces, just like this. We're going to come back to the subhead right here in just 1 second. Now we want to get rid of the boldface, so we can select all, take out the bold. And the only choices you have, the only choice you have for your text other than boldface and regular is right here under styles. When you have subheads, select them and put them into subheadline style. It's really your only choice, and I always do that last because this again can put in some funny spacing. So after you've done everything else, go through and label your subheads. There you go. Now that's all finished. So our main bulk of our fact check is in the system now. The ruling date is actually the publication date. So this I'm going to publish this one today. So I could have just selected today, but sometimes, actually usually you're doing this sometime in the future, so you'll select a future date. In this case, select today, and this is unusual, but I'm going to select now. A lot of times you'll want to enter a time. So if I wanted to publish it at, say, 5 a.m. Eastern, which is 6 a.m. Central Time, I would enter that, and if I had entered a future date here, that's when it would be scheduled to publish. In this case, I'm going to put in the present time because I'm going to want it to publish instantly as soon as I'm finished here. Now, your ruling link text, that is used when you go to the main PolitiFact Illinois page and you see this menu. This is where that's going to go. So these can be sort of humorous. Frankly, these aren't seen by very many people. So this isn't an extremely important thing to put a whole lot of time and effort into. But anyway, that's where it goes. So in this one, we're just going to say, we're going to do something clever like that. Your Facebook headline, you only have 60 characters, which can be difficult. And Twitter headline is just a tweet, so you can put hashtags. You can put the, if you know the, Fritz Kagi in this case, or Joe Barrios' Twitter accounts, which they don't have them. You could put stuff like that in there too. So, and this, you want to be savvy about, knowledgeable about your SEO here. Get the important names in, things that might be searched for. So, so that's my tweet. And under sources, whenever you do a fact check, I always like to have these all cleaned up and ready to go. A lot of times I'll put my sources as I'm working on a fact check into notes, so I'll have quotes down here before them. Saves you a lot of time if you copy them into your actual final fact check copy, so that you can just simply copy and paste. So here are my sources. These go into the source area here. Once again, crazy spacing and boldface. We fix all that. There we have it. Now we can select all and take out the boldface. That's ready to go. I'm not ready to publish this yet. So click preview. Then you can see if it displays the way you think it's going to display. After you do that, since you may have some mistakes to fix, I always click Save and Continue Editing so that this stays on my screen. So now we're going to save it. If I've made any mistakes, it's going to come up with a red stripe at the top, but here I did everything correctly. So now we're going to go back. We're going to look at it in the CMS version, not the live version of PolitiFact Illinois. And the way we do that is we do CMS politifact.com Illinois. So this is the version that only administrators can see, this version. So here we see it looks exactly the same as the public version, except that now we've got our new fact check there. It shows mostly false. This is the 80 by 80 image that I put in before I started this process. And let's click on this and see if it displays the way we want it to display. We especially want to check to make sure that our YouTube video is displaying properly, because at times I've had problems with that. Oh, and it displays properly. Let's go back to the statement because I forgot to put in my tweet. We want to embed this tweet. We want to embed this tweet right after similarly worded radio ad. There's our tweet there. And so what we're going to do is find the place similarly worded radio ad right there. I like to put a marker here. I put a space there. Now, in order to embed a tweet, you're not going to use the embed code. What you're going to do is go in and select what I added up here as an art embed, as figure 1 art embed. Okay, that's what we're going to be adding in. So we're going to put it, we want to put it right there. So we want to go into the source code right there. And here, since I put my marker, I know that I'm going to add it right there. The way that you add embedded pieces of, whether they're graphics, social media posts, and even other videos, is you add them like I've done above. And then down here, I find it easiest just to copy the code that they have written out. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to paste it right here. This is figure 1. If we were putting in several different embeds, you would change this accordingly to figure 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we are adding only one. It is figure 1, as we've seen above. Then I'm going to remove this left, because we don't want this oriented to the left, center, or right. We just want it, we don't need to put anything. So I just remove that. As you'll see down here, you can use these to, you can copy code here for number 2. They're all going to say, that says right. For number 3, it goes back to left. You want to take out the orientation, basically. So there we have it. Now you can click out of the source code, and it's going to show this. Now I'm going to remove that space since I added a marker. Okay, so now we have added our embedded material. Let's save and continue editing and make sure that this pops up in our CMS version. We're going to refresh the CMS version, which looks like it's still, there we go. And let's see if our tweet appears now. Looks like it is in the there it is. There's our tweet. So there you have it. And this looks ready to go. It looks ready to publish. Not sure if I like that headline, so I may go back and change that before I publish it. When you're ready to publish, you simply click Make Public and click Save. And once you've done that, it'll be on the public site and everything is all ready to go. If you ever need to come back and change it, you just go to the master list of statements up here, click that, and it'll take you back to the statements. The editing is fairly simple. The tricky part is learning all the little quirks of loading in. But I think you should be pretty well ready for this. So that's about it.